Welcome back to Finding Your Purpose with HII. I'm your host, Elizabeth Pelto. I'm excited to have you all here. I want to thank you for coming. This session, we're going to be talking about total compensation package. I know everybody is really interested in this one. I want to remind everyone before we move forward, like, share, comment, follow. We do have two panelists with us today to talk about the compensation benefits. That's Holly Johnson. She's a benefit analyst with us, and Kaitlynn Barbour, who is a recruiter in talent acquisition. So coming from two perspectives, one, our subject matter expert, Holly, and then Kaitlynn, she's talking about benefits from the beginning with candidates. So this is going to be really good information. I am going to let them share a little bit about themselves. Remember to stay tuned to the end where we share our hot jobs.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. Yeah, so my name is Holly Johnson, and I have been working with HII Mission Technologies as a benefits analyst for almost 6 years. Before that, I spent 30 years in a career in child development and learning for a local hospital. So I worked a lot with families and children and things like that. And so for me, moving from that into benefits has been really interesting because I had a lot of that perspective working for that child development and learning center, because benefits were a big part of what our families saw in the child care center. And it was also important for our employees to have good employer benefits.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Kaitlynn?
Hello, everyone. My name is Kaitlynn Barbour. I am a recruiter. I've been with the company for 4 years. Previously, before that, I worked for a temp staffing agency where I helped people find their careers, whether it was trades, whether it was admin, IT roles, anything that we could support our customers for. And I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you both for being here. Audience, thank you for joining. So let's get started. First, I do want to say, when we think compensation, right, the first thing that comes to mind is the buzzword salary. But compensation, there's a whole package that goes along with it. So we'll start with Kaitlynn. Just for our audience, can you explain what total compensation is?
Yeah, so when I am talking to a candidate and extending an offer, I really go into more of not just the base salary, but there's more to it. There's the benefits, there's the PTO, there is the health insurance, there's the 401k, there's the tuition reimbursement opportunities that we all we provide. So it's very important that I explain that and not just focus on based on the actual salary total compensation pay, which really helps us, get a conversation going about, what HII has to offer and what we can do and like the future and the career growth within the company.
Yeah. Kaitlynn, do you have a lot of people who ask you about total compensation, or do you have to bring it up to a lot of candidates?
I do have a lot of people that ask me about the total compensation because it is very important. You have to look at the bigger picture, and how much is being come out within if you sign up for the health benefits, or how much are you going to put into your 401k. So it is a big conversation that we do have that a lot of candidates do ask for more in depth.
Holly, so salary, like we talked about, is just one piece to this puzzle. What are some underrated elements of total compensation, of our total compensation package, that can significantly impact a candidate's overall satisfaction?
That's a really good question. It's important to note that, employer benefits do enhance the total value of what employees receive in terms of indirect compensation. And some of those benefits can include things like your health insurance, your medical, dental, and vision, retirement plans, which includes employer contributions, spending and savings accounts, life and disability insurance, and other voluntary benefits, as well as wellness programs. And, it's important to note that group benefits that are offered through an employer are typically more affordable than if purchased independently in the open market.
Yeah, that is very true. And all of these things that we're talking about, so, you have a salary number that you're going to be offered. All of these things add to that number, right, when you're looking at the compensation. So can you share insights on common misconceptions about total compensation? What tips would you offer candidates to fully evaluate a compensation package?
Yeah, I think that really involves a lot of moving pieces in terms of, from a benefits perspective. It's important that, prospective employees evaluate and compare, competitive benefit options. That's really important. They also want to consider their priorities. Is it insurance, retirement, or well-being? And that's different for a lot of people. A lot of people, may not care about certain benefits. They may be focused more on their overall well-being. It's important to note that the value of employer-based benefits have insurance premiums that can be a consideration. But an often overlooked element is the plan design and the options that are relative to prospective employers or employees' benefit needs. For example, the number of medical visits they may have, the copay amount, and other things. And other things that they may want to consider too is including, the 401k matching, voluntary benefit options, and even going as far as leave of absence options and wellness offerings. And I think something that is really, really important and strategic for people to look at when they're, comparing different benefits is life stage benefits. That should definitely be considered. Are there benefits that support them in becoming a parent or caring for elderly family? Chronic disease management, financial management services, buying a house, and ultimately retirement, which is a big thing on people's mind, I think, at any age and with any employer that they're working for.
I wish retirement had been a big thing on my mind back when I was in my 20s. I was talking to Kaitlynn about this yesterday. I was like, gosh, I wish I had started putting money in my 401k when I was in my 20s. I mean, like, yes. If there's any advice that I can send out, it's like start saving your money now. Holly, so regards to misconceptions, can you share any insights on misconceptions? Talk about misconceptions that you're aware of as far as benefits go.
Yeah, I think as far as misconceptions is, I think a lot of questions come in about, benefit costs and things like that. And I think that one thing that it makes me proud to work for HII is the fact that a lot of the benefits are subsidized. So, HII does pay for a portion of the benefits that, employees receive. And I think the misconception is that, sometimes employees look at the cost they're paying for benefits and they don't realize that that's not the total cost. They're just paying a portion of that to receive those benefits. So they really are getting a good value for their money and what they're paying. If you were to look at other plans elsewhere, maybe with other employers or just outside the marketplace, you can find yourself paying a lot more in terms of the total benefit cost. And then I think the other perk is that it is payroll deducted. So it's not something you really have to think about. You can go in and elect your benefits, make those choices that are best for you and your family, and then don't have to worry about, sending that check in. It's just going to come right out of your paycheck. And you can, make those adjustments during the appropriate times during annual enrollment, or if you have a qualified life event that might change your family or personal needs in terms of benefits.
Yeah, that's really good information. Mm-hmm. So in your view, how does our total compensation reflect our company culture? And this really is for both of you. How does our total compensation reflect our company culture? And why should that matter to prospective employees?
I can start. I think, from a benefits perspective, HII is really good at understanding that our employees and their families' health and well-being and financial security are essential to feeling and doing their best on the job. And with our culture of doing things right, that is very key. And so to help them achieve their goals and to support their families, we do offer employees access to a various mix of benefits and resources that help cater to the different aspects of well-being, such as physical, emotional, and financial well-being. And, I think this matters, to prospective employees because I certainly feel that Mission Technologies benefits sets them apart for other defense industry employers.
I do as well. We all talk about benefits, right? Like you have your friends in different companies and we're all like, you pay how much a month for, right? And then you feel really good about where you work because your deductibles aren't as high or your premium is not as high. So it does make you feel like you work for a really good company. And I know that helps on our end, right, Kaitlynn, with recruiting. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. So as a recruiter and as being a brand new mom, and having to go through all of, a lot of medical stuff with like having a baby and like our benefits and stuff, I will say that it is a very smooth and nice process that like our benefits are just, they're amazing. I never had an issue going to a doctor's appointment. I never had an issue with hospitals. I never had issues with adding on, my kid to, my insurance. Like the process is so smooth, but also like with our managers and everybody within the company, like doing things right, they actually care about the employee. Like if I needed anything, I went to benefits and I went to Holly, and Holly immediately helped me. They helped me with every question I had. They made this process flawless. So if anything I can get out of is that we really do care as a company, and like as you are like family to us. Like we're going to find you the answer. We're going to get it fixed for you. So
yeah, that's a good perspective to have. And I think, one thing that's really key about Mission Technologies HII benefits is, there are certain programs that are offered to only benefit eligible employees, but HII also offers benefits that are available to our entire population. We have programs such as our EAP program HERO, which is our HII Employees Reach Out, that offers mental health support. All employees are eligible for one-on-one financial coaching and education with SmartPath. And then we also have the Be Well for Life program that offers free support, services, and events to strengthen all of our employees' health and overall well-being. Doesn't matter what benefits you have, all of our employees are eligible for that. So, while certainly there are some eligibility requirements, there's a lot of things that HII offers for everybody.
Yeah. And I think when I'm thinking about our company culture and how benefits reflects that in our company culture, for me, it's intangible, it's tangible. So maybe there's benefits I'm not using, but the fact that our company offers them to our employees, like you said, Holly, for different stages of life, it feels good to me. I know that we were talking about, there's some employees in need of leave. And we can donate to them, and that feels really good to me because maybe I don't need my leave right now, but somebody else does. It's just a culture of taking care of one another. So the fact that our company does, but then the fact that like we take care of each other also, that is a culture for me that I like to be in. So go ahead, Holly.
I was just gonna say, there's also just not one specific benefit plan. Certain medical benefits and other benefits do depend on your location, but in most cases, in a variety of those locations, there are different, medical plan options that are available so that people can choose what is best for their family, whether it be a low or a high PPO or something different. There's a lot of different things that people can look at so that they can make that best choice for them and their family. They're not just stuck with just one thing that they have to choose from. They have options, and options are very important when people are looking to, take care of themselves.
How does a comprehensive compensation package play a role? And I know we did talk about this briefly, but how does it play a role in long-term career satisfaction for professional growth?
Yeah. So I think, we already talked about how, benefits are important. And I think in a lot of cases, the first thing a prospective employee wants to know is what is the cost. And I think, they really should be looking at the overall health and wellness benefits as a part of their, career satisfaction, making sure they've got those comprehensive health insurance coverage for medical, dental, and vision, mental health support, which provides, access to a variety of tools, programs, and resources. Do they have, those emotional and financial well-being resources as well? Leave options and support, employee perks and benefits, which includes those savings and discounts. And then I think in terms of looking at your, career growth, benefits can play a key role as people are seeking to prioritize their needs and ensure quality of life through all of their stages, which we already talked about. The benefits that are offered to them, should address that goal regardless of where an individual might be in their life.
Right.
And this shared direction, I think, definitely impacts long-term career growth by providing sustainable and productive focus while avoiding burnout. And it's interesting that according to research from Gallup, overall well-being does affect performance, decision-making, and productivity. And so employees who, prioritize their overall well-being are more likely to take on leadership roles, maintain upward career mobility, and have longevity with an employer without burning out. And I think benefits and all the aspects of benefits, aside from the cost, what they have to offer an employee and what they can take advantage of is key to all of that.
And sometimes you don't think about that when you're being offered a position. I can say that I have been offered a position before and I didn't even think about benefits. And I work in HR, right? It didn't even occur to me that I was like, oh yeah, that salary is great. I'll take it. I wasn't even considering benefits. So it's just a really good thing to think about in that moment when you're so excited about accepting a position. Just make sure you're well informed. Make sure you know everything that a company has to offer and the longevity of what that looks like down the road for you, because that's retention. That's how you stay with a company, and that's how a company grows with you and you grow with it. And when you are accepting a position, when an offer is being given to you, in the stage of life that, like Holly talked about, stage of life, that's such an important thing to think about, because in the stage of life you are in when you are accepting that position does not mean in the next 2 years that's going to be the stage of life that you're still in. So looking ahead, like Holly said, planning, like Kaitlynn said, knowing where you're going with that company and what they have to offer in the future. It's the big compensation picture is what we're talking about, folks. I want to say thank you, Holly, Kaitlynn, for being here. This has been very insightful for me and for our audience. We appreciate your time. Remember, everybody, like, share, comment, follow us, and I hope everybody has a great day.